Have we as a nation declined to the point where even the integrity of academic and professional qualifications, arguably the bedrock of a functional society, is now so compromised by corruption that we now need a conference on it? It is in this context that this year's theme, Enhancing the Integrity of Academic and Professional Qualification in Kenya, emerges not merely as a topic for discussion, but as a timely and urgent call to action. This theme reminds us of the ground we must reclaim in confronting corruption and restoring public trust in institutions. For if the pathways to knowledge and professional excellence are contaminated, then the moral spine of the nation is grossly weakened. We must, therefore, recommit ourselves to build a republic where honor is earned, not forged, where credentials reflect competence, not convenience, and where integrity is not the exception, but the expectation. Ladies and gentlemen, as I prepared for this conference, I was reminded of the profound weight of the task before us, resetting and deepening accountability across all spheres of governance, in line with the ongoing reform agenda of this administration. It is a mission of consequence, and precisely because of its transformative potential, it will attract significant resistance. Those who benefit from the current function will not yield easily. There will be pushback. There will be efforts to undermine progress, to cycle back to the comfort of the status quo. But if we are to make a real and lasting difference in this nation, we must press on with resolve and clarity of purpose. Last week, I held a governance session with all principal secretaries, chairpersons, board members, CEOs, company secretaries, and heads of internal audit across all state corporations. In that meeting, I read out the resolutions of the meeting and emphasized the following golden key of governance. One was governance and compliance, where I reminded all institutions that they must operate strictly within the law, the Constitution, the State Corporations Act, the Public Finance Management Act, the Public Procurement and Disposals Act, and all government circulars. I made it clear that non-compliance would attract sanctions. I urge CEOs to immediately hold sessions with their teams to review these laws. I also talked about procurement reforms. I also talked about retirement policy. I also talked about boards and management roles, where I clarified that the boards should focus on oversight and not interfere in daily operations. CEOs must run institutions without interference. I added that reports from the Inspector General for State Corporations must be acted upon without delay, and ignoring them would be treated as sabotage. I also talked about audit committees. I also talked about ongoing state corporations reforms. I also talked about gender and complaints handling. I also talked about resolving internal disputes within government. In summation, I called for improved performance, faster service delivery, and a public service guided by integrity and citizen-first approach. For when governance works, Kenya works. And yet a few days later, I woke up to a headline that read, "One-man guitar." Ladies and gentlemen, how can a reform effort involving more than 3,000 participants be dismissed as the work of one person? How can a national agenda grounded in law and driven by collective responsibility be reduced to a one-man show. Such framing trivializes the shared commitment of an entire public service. But why? Because changes often, at times, is greeted with pushback. I found it necessary to highlight my recent experience with governance reforms, not for its own sake, but to offer perspective to all key stakeholders gathered here today. It is important that we appreciate just how fierce the opposition to this noble agenda will be. This is because the escalating problem of falsified academic and professional qualification strikes at the very core of integrity, meritocracy, competence, and the trust that citizens place in both public and private institutions. Why do I say this? Because we continue to encounter alarming trends in the falsification of academic certificates. The most common types of forgery includes alterations of KCSE mean grades, forged KCSE certificates, where individuals who never sat the examination present fake documents for purposes of employment or appointment. Fake certificates where the issuing institutions outrightly disown the documents presented. Candidates who never registered with the institutions are alleged to have issued certificates. Certificate numbers that do not correspond to their late owners. Fabricated names where the name on the certificate differs from that of the actual certificate holder. Individuals who never sat the examination in question and were not listed as candidates, and altered degrees classifications, for example, converting a second-class lower division to a second-class upper division, or pass to second-class lower. Even they can dare and even upgrade their degree from pass to first class. And on top of it, they can award themselves a fictitious master's and PhD. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, that is the elephant in the room today. I am therefore confident that this conference will not only provoke rigorous discussion, but will also yield concrete recommendations for multi-sectoral action, because lasting solutions require the commitment and participation of all stakeholders, whether in government, academia, regulatory agencies, or the private sector. One of our biggest and most important roles as government is providing a world-class education for our children, an education that will train them to be thinkers and problem solvers, an education that will ensure that they have the skills and knowledge to navigate the ever-changing global work and business environment, an education that will enable them to be change makers wherever they are, an education that will help them to be responsible and patriotic citizens. Nelson Mandela once said, "The power of education extends beyond the development of skills we need for economic success. It can contribute to nation building and reconciliation." As such, falsification of academic and professional certificates stands in the way of our nation building aspirations, because it leads to unqualified and often uneducated people holding important positions across our public and private sector. These people are completely unable to steer our nation to the greatness that we aspire to. Additionally, having these people in our workforce negatively impacts the morale of Kenyans who earn their academic qualifications through hard work and honesty. It makes our populace question the integrity of both our public and private sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of the institutional response to this menace, I am informed that the Public Service Commission issued a directive requiring all public institutions to authenticate the academic and professional certificates of their staff. According to the report on the validation of academic and professional certificate in the public service, issued by the Commission in February 2024, preliminary findings paint a deeply concerning picture. Out of 53,000 cases referred to the Kenya National Examination Council by 91 public institutions, 1,280 certificates were confirmed as forgeries. This verification exercise was still ongoing at the time of reporting. Just imagine 1,280 certificates were confirmed as forgeries. These are likely to belong to CEOs, chairmen of parastatals, board members, policemen, investigators across institutions. And just imagine the product of these fake fellows. They will drive the country in the opposite direction. Not because they want, but because of their limited knowledge and expertise. Separately, in 195 MDAs, including universities and other tertiary institutions, 29,000 officers underwent certificate authentication. Shockingly, 787 officers were found to have secured appointments, promotions, or resignation through fraudulent documents. 787 officers. The findings further indicate that forgeries span all levels of the education system: secondary schools, TVETs, and universities, both local and foreign. This is not a marginal problem. It is a systemic one. Further, data from 2023-2024 values report on certificate authentication reveals 358 institutions reported conducting authentication exercises for 168,000 officers. Out of these, 859 officers were found with fake academic certificates, while 24,000 were not authenticated at all. A further 160 officers were found with fake professional certificates. State corporations and semi-autonomous government agencies are the highest number of reported forgeries, about 70%, followed by public universities with 116 cases. Only 49 institutions reported having forwarded the names of implicated officers to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Public Service Commission. Yet, 43 institutions could provide actual evidence or having done so. Alarmingly, 4 institutions submitted lists of implicated officers that did not match the number of confirmed forgeries within their organization. So we can go on, and simply put, it paints a very, very dark space. That the people that our citizens have delegated power to run the affairs of the country are incompetent, they are fake, and they are still making decisions. And they are shooting in the dark because they don't understand, they don't know what it is. And that is why when you go across institutions of government, you get very competent people. Decision making is wanting. People don't take command, they don't take charge of the institutions because they are inadequate and they know. And you can't hide that. You get somebody closing himself in the office, he does not want to see anybody, he does not want even to attend meetings because he cannot even sustain a conversation because perhaps he is a standard 4 and is holding as a highest official. He does not understand anything. So what I want to say is that the EACC is doing a good job because calling all of us, because when you see a call for a discussion, a call for a conversation, then you need to acknowledge that it is a crisis. And it also calls us to ask ourselves, where are the employers when these things are happening? Are these people who have fake certificates relatives of these people? of the employers? How are they not, ensuring that whoever comes in has proper papers? So I want to encourage Public Service Commission, EACC, and all employers, EACC and Public Service Commission, to push this responsibility to the employers themselves. They have to authenticate the papers before they onboard anybody, so that we don't waste a lot of government funds chasing around these people. We don't also expose the public to very dangerous people in offices. We are calling upon each and every employer across government, both public and also private sector, to ensure that they authenticate before they onboard anybody. It may take longer, slightly longer, but it is fine. It is better to take a longer time recruiting somebody and get the right one. And also it will help us if you come across a fake certificate presented, that person should be presented to the police for action to be taken. It is important too that the people who bring these people on board take responsibility too. Out of all these, EACC has confirmed that it has initiated investigation into officers found to have gained employment using forged documents. A majority of institutions have taken steps to authenticate certificates, but the status of verification for most officers remains unclear. They go also around and compromise even those who have employed them. So you realize that even if EACC puts their foot forward, trying to do investigation, sometimes the management of institutions that are targeted are very reluctant to share information. The institutions that are supposed to cooperate with EACC in hastening the process of the authentication also are reluctant to do it, and therefore government spends too much money in trying to ensure that the certificates are genuine or not. So it also drives us back to what I said, that let us deal with it at the gate of entry. While we strive to eradicate the falsification of academic and professional documents, we must also acknowledge with concern several emerging challenges in the verification process itself. The first one is many academic and professional qualification records remain undigitized, complicating efforts to verify credentials efficiently. So we need to hasten the process of digitization so that it becomes easier. We only use a search engine, and within the shortest time we get to verify the documents that we have in. Secondly, there are significant delays in receiving responses from issuing institutions when verifications requests are made. Commission of University Education, Kenya National Examination Council, and those other institutions around authentication, they need again to work very closely with EACC and respond as fast as they can. There is also the cost of verification, coupled with the lack of dedicated budget allocations, which has hindered some institutions from completing the authentication process. And we need to ask ourselves, is it really necessary? Do we make verification process to be an A item in your institution? Do we have to charge to confirm? Do we really have to confirm, to pay? It's a question that we are throwing back to NEC, Minister of Education, as the ministry in charge of academics in the country. Must we pay NEC to verify Must EACC pay? Must we pay all this? Can we have some understanding where, when investigation are being done, when verification is done, it is done in a manner that is efficient, that exhibits a whole of government approach, so that we don't frustrate institutions that are mandated to do their job by demanding too much money. I understand it costs about 10,000 shillings, a lot of money for one to go and verify. We can charge private individuals when they are called to perhaps confirm their certificates or certify. But EACC, Public Service Commission, and ministries, government agencies, I don't think it is right. We need to have a conversation on that so that we make it easier for verification to be done. It is also often difficult to establish contact with certain foreign institutions where some public officers obtain their qualifications. I think, again, the ministry responsible, the State Department responsible, the regulator responsible should also make it efficient, find a way of interconnectedness with institutions across the world so that it becomes easier to get a feedback when it is required. There is also have been instances where officers implicated in certificate fraud have resigned or opted for a retirement before disciplinary measures could be enforced. And you have heard, the agencies have to go for that person. Even if you resign, the person should be pursued, because this is one character that may have created more damage than good in the institution. So we need, again, also judiciary to also help us in ensuring that such characters are also pursued. I know there was some judgment which says that if somebody resigns, you don't have any jurisdiction to pursue him once he's out of your jurisdiction. I think those are the things that we need to have a conversation, because one will resign here, disappear, go and manufacture another certificate and go and work elsewhere. When he's almost caught, he resigns. and like that. And it will make nonsense of what we are doing. So as vanguards of public trust, we fully appreciate the critical role that genuine education and professional qualification play in advancing our national development agenda. Accordingly, it is requested that all public institutions must complete the authentication, academic and professional certificates for their entire staff, and possibly let us be having timelines. Like Public Service Commission, you need to push state departments and agencies to have some timeline so that we always have a target to reach. Other than if it is left open, those people who have brought their relatives in droves will hide them. They will never. But if we push them and give them deadline, for sure we shall catch them. So let us have strict deadlines of returns of the entire complement of the staff of an institution, so that other things can go on thereafter. And also, the authentication process must be institutionalized. Let us not issue appointment letters, whether for entry or promotion, without prior verification of credentials. Let us do it. Let us become a condition precedent that before you are given a letter of appointment, let us authenticate your certificate. Pass the test first. Also, institutions must also verify certificates for all serving officers retrospectively from the date they joined the service. Let us not say from those who came this year going forward or something. Let us do this exercise, give ourselves a period of time. We do from the lowest to the highest. Up to my office, even myself, I have to present. Yeah, I have to, because we need each and everybody to respect the law and to be above board. Otherwise, I commend the decisive intervention by the Public Service Commission, which required all public entities to authenticate the qualification of their officers. However, this problem extends beyond the public sector. The numerous investigations and prosecutions currently underway show that this crisis spans all sectors of our society. And we are asking Federation of Kenya Employers, all private sector players, to please close ranks with government and let us eliminate forged documents in our system. Because without all of us being in this, still these fake papers will still have a market. They will still have where to be presented to. But if the private sector and the government closes ranks and reviews all the certificates that their employees are presented, we may eliminate. It is possible that we can eliminate, because there will be nowhere that they will just go and present papers that are forged. So, ladies and gentlemen, the urgency of addressing this issue cannot be overstated. We must eradicate these vices in all its forms and from every angle. While law enforcement agencies have made progress in investigating forgery, prosecuting offenders, and recovering public resources lost to fraudulent qualifications, a more collaborative effort among all stakeholders is essential. This conference marks a significant step toward a multi-sectoral, multi-agency approach to combating this menace. Its objectives is to bring key players together to confront academic dishonesty and forgery. During this conference, you will discuss the root causes, review progress in detection and prosecution, and deliberate on the roles different stakeholders must play. While these conversations are vital, I look forward especially to your practical solutions to prevent and combat the spread of fake certificates. Academic dishonesty and falsified certificates are symptoms of a deeper crisis, a lack of integrity. As we address this challenge, we must commit to restoring integrity at the core of all our national efforts. Without integrity, meaningful growth and development remain out of reach. I want to add and say that the entire citizenry of Kenya are yearning for development, are putting government under a lot of pressure for transformation. But you see, transformation, heightened development cannot come if we are not disciplined. If we are not even ready to play by the rule of law. Basic things. We cannot. So first of all, let us be disciplined in what we are doing. Let us submit proper papers. Let us obey the law. Let us obey the traffic rules. Let us follow the tenets of the public service regulations. And the country will be disciplined. And when discipline kicks in, now people will sit down and plan and focus. Discipline in handling human and financial resources, discipline in handling assets of government, discipline in, even coming up projections and planning the economic space of the country. Discipline is key. Discipline is the foundation of everything. So let us be disciplined across. There is one writer who said integrity is choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. Our words during this conference must not be mere rhetoric. We must embody these values and act decisively on the solutions we developed. Therefore, I call on all constitutional commissions and government agencies handling this menace to take a firm and unwavering stance, fully in line with the law, to root out this cancer undermining our nation. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has teeth to bite. Look no further. I urge the EACC and all relevant agencies to bite hard, because education is the foundation of any workforce, and workers are a critical factor of production in society. Honor must be earned, not fabricated. If it means dismissing those employed through fraudulent credentials, let us do so boldly and without hesitation. If it means prosecuting offenders, let us proceed without fear. If it means protecting our institution from dishonest individuals seeking undeserved employment, let us act decisively for the millions of Kenyans who have honestly earned their qualifications. Moreover, our institution must make authentication easier and more accessible. All universities should establish centralized repositories with a Commission for University Education, enabling all queries on academic qualification to be done via a single streamlined search engine. Similarly, the Kenya National Examination Council must review and reduce their fees, or just eliminate it completely, for verification requests, to make the compliance process user-friendly and affordable. This issue goes to the very heart of our nation's integrity. Let everyone do their part. In conclusion, I want to reaffirm the full support of the executive branch of government and all relevant agencies in implementing these conferences and recommendations. As I conclude, I want to add and say that as we are carrying out this exercise, we need also to be very vigilant, because currently disinformation, misinformation is ruling the air. People can bastardize even genuine certificates for some people because of some reasons that that has come to play. The kind of misinformation, the kind of media twisting of matters that are serious needs to be re-examined, and we are requesting also for the state to stick to the truth and facts, because falsehood flies fast. People people's careers, people's integrity can be destroyed, because majority of us, even in this room, have no capability of countering effectively and adequately well what the social media and the propaganda fellows will do. It is impossible. Let us be responsible citizens across. There are certain critical issues that need not be joked around with. We've seen several social media and even print media where they just come out and boldly, and yet it is a lie that they are propagating. They go dig details of citizens or officers of government, get the facts, but they twist, either for their papers to sell or for them to get more followers. And by so doing, destroying completely the trust, the confidence that people have in our respective offices or our respective professions. So I ask all of us also, as we are doing what we are doing, as we are discussing this issue, we need also to ask ourselves, how do we protect those who are wrongly accused, whose misinformation and disinformation has flooded the environment to the extent now that they can't even undo whatever these criminals have done. So I want to urge all of us to be vigilant. It is, for example, As I stand here, I'm a student also of University of Nairobi doing a very interesting course. I am doing a master's degree in entomology. I know most of you know agricultural entomology. So, a master's degree, my passion is in science. I'm a scientist. And I have rose and through the ranks, done all the public administration courses, MBA and the rest. But I'm preparing for retirement. So I said, since I'm an introvert, I don't mix with many people, I don't go to hotels. What will I do when I retire? I have to go back to the lab to talk to my insects, to analyze them, to sequence their genomes, to identify, to profile, and also to inform the economic decision makers on what they are expecting in future. And therefore, so the other day I was hearing that some fake fellows are going to dig to say whether I have hired people to work for me. And I pended this research of mine because I was busy for 20 years, and I've gone back to do it. I've been everywhere. I've been in Naivasha, my research station. I've been in Muranga. I've been burning midnight oil. And just imagine, people are going around saying, oh, I've hired some people to do. They don't even know what is the dragon fruit. They don't know even the definition of the term phenology. They don't know. They don't know resource partitioning. You get what I mean? So let us also not be so fake, looking for fake certificates. Using fake means to look for, yeah. So I want to really thank all of us here for coming. Let us have a conversation that will end up having actionable resolutions. And I'm happy that the Public Service Commission chair is here. He's actually trying to transform the place. The place is huge, complex, but it's up to the task. We are happy that we are seeing the engine is rolling, and we are also happy that EACC is stepping up, is supporting, and carrying out their mandate. And as we were sitting, having some briefing, I was asking myself, do we really know what we want as Kenyans? Because when EACC steps out and moves in, people say, oh, there is witch hunt. Now, when they retreat to their offices and try to, first of all, understand, get to know by investigating, getting documents for 3-4 months, then people say, yes, it is dead. So what do we want as a country? When Public Service Commission unravels, checks on the certificates, and then they say they are now targeting a tribe. So what do we want? I think let us be serious and allow institutions to function and carry out their jobs. We want also other independent offices, Auditor General's office, which they are doing a good job, to continue without being intimidated by anybody. The COB should also move in and continue making sure that the money that is dispersed to counties are used properly. We want also NCIC to do their job. We want also NGEC to do their job. We want also CAJ to do their job. EACC to do its job. And all the commissions and independent offices and also offices of government. We have to make this country work. We have to fix it. And we cannot wait for anybody else. It is our time to fix this thing. And it's a time to make it work. It is me and you now, which has been given this privilege to do it.